I said this in my last video, and I've been saying this for a little while. He is the modern day Jose Mourinho. That is what Thomas Frank is, the modern day Jose Mourinho. Now, I think it's clear that Man City were outwitted today, outsmarted, outwitted. I think that you see with these type of games, it's obvious what Tottenham are going to do this year. In the easier games or the so-called smaller teams, they're going to play Gray and Bergval and those guys and try and control the game. Against the big teams, they're going to sit back and play on the counter, and they're going to do exactly what they did against PSG for the whole season. It's clear as day what they're going to do. Now, they were brilliant today, Tottenham. They know exactly what they're doing. Thomas Frank knows exactly what he's doing. The only thing I will say though is let's not go overboard, because Man City had chances. They had exactly the same amount of chance, maybe not in game moments, but they had the same amount of big chances, I would say, as Tottenham. If Haaland scores on a bit of half time, or if that chance where Vicario and Van der Ven are all over the place and Haaland passes it, they should have had a penalty as well, because that was a penalty on Oscar Bob with Van der Ven. So they should have had a penalty as well. So I feel like they had a really bad game, Man City. Reinders was terrible. Shirky was abysmal. Rico Lewis was awful. Oscar Bob couldn't do anything to Spence. So they had a lot of underperformers. And I think what we're doing, we're looking at Man City and assuming that this is the same Man City team. And because they've got Pep, it's the same team. This is not the same Man City team. You haven't got De Bruyne, David Silva, Yaya Toure, Aguero, Sterling, Sane. You haven't got these guys, Vincent Company. You ain't got these guys no more. These guys are gone. These new guys that are here, they are not the same level. This is not the same team. And Tottenham, they know that. And this Tottenham team, they know exactly what they're doing. Paulinho was easily man of the match for me. I know Saul got man of the match. Bentancur was brilliant, and Paulinho was brilliant. And to me, Paulinho was man of the match. But this Tottenham team are going to be hard to beat. They are going to be hard to beat all season. They're not going to lose many games this year. Now, I do think though, with the way that they play, I do think if they go a goal behind, the game's completely different, because really and truly, Man City should have been ahead of the game. Mamouche had a one-on-one. There was a chance when Reinders was through on goal, and he didn't pass it to Mamouche. Instead, he passed it to someone. I don't know what Reinders was doing today. He didn't pass it to Mamouche. He passed it to someone else. Then there was another chance where he had the whole pitch to himself, and he ends up passing it first time. And you're thinking, Reinders, if that was De Bruyne, Man City would have had about 2 or 3 one-on-ones. That's the difference. So I do feel that Man City did create enough to stay in the game or to swing the momentum. But I just feel like this is a design performance by Thomas Frank. This is what he designs, the street smarts. This is what he designs. This is designed. Everything he did today was designed. This is not the same as the Arsenal win against Man United, because that wasn't designed. That was digging guts and hope they miss and hope we can get through this and a bit of character. This win by Tottenham was designed. Now, his design is to limit chances and is to make sure you hit them on the counter and create moments. They're good from corners all of a sudden. Tottenham are good from corners, and they're good at defending corners. They got all these set piece routines, all of these little tactical nous things, and a little bit of trickery here, there. He's a street smart manager, Thomas Frank is. You can tell he's the modern day Jose Mourinho. I've said this plenty of times. He's one of the best managers in the league, and they are not going to be easy to beat. They are not going to be easy to beat. And I feel like they've got the right squad and the right players and the profiles to continue this. When Richarlison comes off, Solanke comes on. Not exactly like for like, but very, very similar in profile. You're going to get the same things from both of them in essence. What's his name? Brennan Johnson comes off. Older Bear comes on. Again, not exactly the same like for like, but very, very similar in profile. Kudos comes off, and Kudos works so hard. I actually thought he didn't work that hard. The first game I saw him play, that watched him fully and focused on him, he wasn't working very hard, and I think he has lapses in concentration. But today he was up for it. He worked so hard, and he helps Tottenham get up the pitch, because he very rarely loses the ball, and he takes the pressure off all of them. So he's going to be a big player for Tottenham. And don't forget, Tottenham have still got Kulusevski to come back. Madison's obviously out for the season, but they've got a couple players still to come back. So Tottenham are they're looking like a strong team. They're in a good squad. Saar, Bentancur, and Paulina in the middle. That's a hard midfield to break down. Now, I do think it's very different if they go down. And I think that Man City could have been up. They could have been up. They had a couple of chances to go ahead of the game, and they just couldn't finish their chances. So I do think this game could have swung either way. It could have swung either way. Tottenham, they had a designed win, but it could have swung either way. And I just feel like Tottenham are going to be a hard team to beat, man. I think they're going to be a hard team to beat. They're too street smart right now. Even Brennan Johnson, he's kicking the ball away, getting a yellow card. That's by design. That's by design. When they're staying on the ground, the players staying on the ground with Charlison's dragging the ball, and then they get a foul and he's holding the ball, and then he kicks the ball away and he's taking time, and Man City all in. That's all by design. I know Richarlison's that type of player anyway, but it's by design. So I think this win is a message to the whole Premier League that Tottenham are going to be hard to beat. They're not going to come out all guns blazing at you. They're not going to try and play you for football. They're going to be hard to beat. That's what Thomas Frank is priding himself on. Now, where do you think Tottenham can go to play it being hard to beat? I don't see any reason why they can't compete for the top four playing like that. I'll be honest. I don't see why Tottenham can't compete for the top four. It doesn't take too much to be able to compete for the top four. It's very different. It's a bigger gap from the gap between Tottenham and compete for the top four is not that big, but the gap to compete for the title is a different conversation. That's a different conversation. But competing for top four, I don't see why they can't. You got Newcastle, Aston Villa. They're going to be just as hard to beat as those guys. Just as hard to beat as those guys. So as long as they stay injury free, that team's going to be tough to beat, man. It's going to be tough to beat. They do run out of steam quite quickly, because obviously the way they play, they play without the ball. So they do run out of steam, but they're going to be hard to beat this year. They're going to be hard to beat. In terms of City, though, I think they just got to just keep doing what they're doing. Like, they didn't have a good game today, but they had their chances. They created their chances to win this game. And I don't think it's... you're going to hear a lot of the narrative of, oh, City are finished, or they can't defend. Or you're going to hear a lot of that narrative. But I feel like they still had enough chances to win the game. They had the amount of opportunities that they had to win and to score goals. If they had scored one, it would have been a chaotic game. And that's what City normally do. They normally create chaos, and they had enough chances. Haaland had a couple chances. Mamouche had chances. They had a lot of chances today. So Oscar Bob, that should have been a penalty. Haaland had that chance where he squared it wrong to Shirky. So they had a lot of chances today. A lot of chances to score goals. They ain't going to be happy with their missed chances. And the game would have been completely different if they put those chances in the net. So I think this game is a designed win by Thomas Frank, but he's also going to know they had chances and it could have been a completely different game. So you got to big up Tottenham, man. They did what they had to do at the end of the day, man. They're doing what they're doing. They got the right manager in. I think they're gonna have to give him his time and do what he's doing. But he's already got them. Like, it's easier to play the way Thomas Frank is playing than it is to play the way Guardiola's playing. So I don't, with all of this notion that, oh yeah, but he's coming and he stamps his authority quickly. No, it's a lot easier to do it this way. It's a lot easier to stamp your authority and play low block football. That's a lot easier, closing spaces and closing the lines. That's a lot easier, especially when you've got Sarr, Bentancur, and then you brought in Paulinho. It's a lot easier to do it this way than it is to start playing expansive, open football like that. When you can't stamp your authority that easily. It requires a certain level of player. This type of football is a lot easier. You already had the base there. So only thing is, though, we all know what you're going to do now. We all know against the big teams, you're going to play that type of football, and against the smaller teams, you're going to play expansive football. And that's where we're going to see how much you can like change it up day to day, because there's a lot of changing and a lot going on. Everyone's going to play in that team. A lot of players are going to be playing minutes, but it's going to be changing consistently, and we need to see how that runs. And yeah, we know what's going to happen, man. We know what's going to play, man. You have to big up Thomas Frank and Tottenham. They outsmarted Man City street smarts, and I wouldn't put it against them. Keep doing that. I wouldn't put it against them. Keep doing that and keep getting results. That's 2 wins on the bounce now for them. One at Burnley, a promoted team. One at Man City, and this is away at Man City. So that's a tricky game out the way for them, and they've won it. So you gotta give credit where it's due. And on Man City, I just think just keep doing what you're doing, man. They know what they're doing. They could have eased the game. Could have been completely different if Haaland scores or Shirky ends up scoring or Mamouche scores. They had chance after chance. So yeah, that's my take on it, man. Hopefully Arsenal get the job done and we move on, man. You know what I'm saying? We move on. But yeah, big up Tottenham, and It's annoying as it is, but they're getting their points on the board, and that's the aim of the game, man.